Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I'm going to be ranking Pokemon again this time, but rather than doing starters as I did in my last video on my channel, I'm going to do all the pseudo-legendaries. For these rankings, I try my best to remove my bias, my personal attachments to Pokemon, because if that were the case, it'd be T-Tar, 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 T-Tar. Because that's the one I grew up with, that was my first pseudo-legendary. So it's kind of hard to remove yourself, but I do my best to remove my bias. I also have a second opinion on these videos, which is nice. My cousin has played every single Pokemon game. He's been very hardcore. I don't think he's missed any of them, even like the obscure like Mystery Dungeon and like side games. I have played most Pokemon games, all of the main lines except for Black and White, and I still play Pokemon Go and Scarlet and Violet right now. So without further ado, we're gonna get to the rankings. There's only one pseudo legendary I don't like, and we're gonna jump right into that. Sadly for me, it's Jangmo-o. This is the only one I don't like. I don't know why. Jangmo-o I don't mind. When you get to Hackmo-o and Jangmo-o, it doesn't work for me. I mean, Jangmo-o. They tried something here, and I appreciate the effort, like the attempt. They tried something different with this one, but dragon fighting, it just doesn't look. It looks weird to me. I can never get past the way the scales look. That's my personal preference. I'm sorry if Jangmo-o's line is your favorite, but for me, it's an easy last for me, and I hate to say it that way. Now, coming in next here is the next in the newest pseudo legendary is actually the Baxcalibur line. My cousin hates this line with a passion. It would be his number 11, but I actually don't mind this line. It just doesn't feel pseudo legendary to me. Baxcalibur is interesting. His shiny's not very good, and he's interesting looking. There's a lot of empty space, it feels like, on this Pokemon. Like, he just feels very plain. He doesn't feel pseudo legendary to me, but I like the line. If this was just like another dragon line, I think I'd like it a lot more. But because it was a pseudo legendary for Scarlet and Violet, I'm a little bit disappointed because everything above this I actually really like. This one's the only one where I'm like, I don't mind the Pokemon. He doesn't feel pseudo legendary to me. He doesn't feel as special as the other ones. So that's the only thing bad I have to say about Baxcalibur's line. It sucks that that's there because I really wish it wasn't the case. Moving on to number 9 is the Hisuian Goodra line. I love Gumi, love Goodra. This one just isn't as good as the original to me. I like what they did here with the big shell. It's a little too big. I think they made it a little too much. I don't mind. I actually really like Sliggoo coming out of the little shell, and adding Steel type makes it very cool. They also ruined the shiny. The Pokemon stays the exact same color except the shell turns bronze, which I don't like at all. So this isn't a bad line. It's just I think the regular Goodra and Gumi are better, and sadly this has to be number 9. Moving on from there, we're gonna go to Hydreigon. Hydreigon is a case of the middle awkward evolution being so awkward that the line hurts it. I love Hydreigon, I love Dino, I love the shiny. I think Dark and Dragon is a really interesting typing. I like that. But I really don't like Swellius, and compared to the ones above this, it's really hard to put Hydreigon's line above the rest of them, with Swellius being so awkward to me. So while I do love Hydreigon, and I'm very excited to see him being used in Scarlet and Violet competitive, he benefits from Terra typing so much. I really like him, but sadly he has to be number 8. Number 7 is the regular Gumi line. I love regular Gumi. This line is adorable. I love Goodra. I love Sliggoo. I love all of them. They have great shinies. It's a bright yellow, and it looks really good. So I love Gumi and Goodra, but they're just really cute. But everything above this is kind of the elite territory in my mind. Like, all of the pseudo legendaries above this are like top 25% of Pokemon in my opinion. They're all done very well, and sadly Goodra is a victim of everything else being slightly better above it, but it's still a great line, and I use Goodra whenever I get the chance in my games. Now this one might make some people a little bit upset. The OG should not be this low. He is Dragonite. He is the original pseudo legendary, very classic, very nostalgic, very iconic. But if I'm looking at the line as a whole and their typing, the line doesn't go together super well. Dratini and Dragonair are great on their own line, but I've never understood how we get from Dragonair to Dragonite. They look nothing alike. I don't know how they're the same line. Individually, they're all great, but that disconnect is where I think we got him to number 6. I think Dragon Flying is not a very interesting type either. I feel like it's a very common type. So sadly, the OG Pseudo Legendary is down at 6. But it speaks to the strength of the pseudo legendaries, how good these Pokemon are. That there's 5 things above it, which is kind of crazy. Number 5 is Salamence. Salamence has that same dragon and flying type, but I think the line, the backstory behind it, and the continuity is better than Dragonite. Go from Bagon to Shellder, and you see Shellder kind of on Salamance's chest as like his armor, and that Bagon was dreaming of soaring the skies. I think is like the coolest thing. I actually got a Salamence that's shiny in Scarlet and Violet that has the Cloud Watcher title, and I was so excited. Salamence is very solid. He's kind of the standard. I think if you're above or below Salamence, determines if you're great or average as pseudo legendary. So you can't go wrong with Salamence. Salamence is just great, but he gets outclassed by the four above it. I almost think that some of these dragons, unless they have a cool secondary typing, get a little bit of a minus because all of them seem to be dragons. Speaking of which, the next one is not dragon. This is one of two pseudo legendaries that is not a dragon type. Metagross is a very, very cool Pokemon. Steel and Psychic is a really cool type. Its Mega is cool. Its Shiny is excellent. It turns it bright silver with a gold X on its face. This Pokemon is so different to the other pseudo legendaries, and it is extremely cool. I find myself using Metagross almost every game he's available. I'm really sad he's not in Scarlet and Violet yet, but I'm sure DLC will add him. We're only missing two pseudo legendaries, so I'm sure he's coming. But can't say enough about Metagross being cool. He's one of the coolest. He was in my top 3 last time I thought about this, but the next Pokemon creeps up my list every time I play Pokemon, every time I think about pseudos. I absolutely love Dreepy. I actually didn't get him in my first playthrough of Sword and Shield. He was kind of like a Pokemon I knew existed but never really paid attention to. But as of late, the more I look at it and the more I see him, he is such a cool design. Ghost and Dragon is a cool typing. It's Giratina's typing. Such a cool typing. Dreepy's cute. Dracloak has a little Dreepy on its head, and then Dragapult shoots Dreepies out of its head for its signature move. It is such a cool concept. I love that it shoots its first evolution out of its head. I absolutely love it. The shiny is great. It turns all the red bright yellow. I absolutely love this Pokemon, and every time I think about pseudo legendaries, this creeps up my list. It might end up creeping up even higher than this. I think Dragapult is such an underappreciated like pseudo legendary. I think it's one of the best Pokemon in the whole national dex. Moving up number 2 is T-Tar. Tyranitar is one of the most cool and intimidating Pokemon, and it also gets that bonus of not being a dragon. I think its typing is rather weak in like competitive formats, but it's benefiting from Terra typing, and it is just such a cool Pokemon. This thing feels fierce. It feels pseudo legendary, and I love that its second evolution is like its armor in its center, that they've incorporated Pupitar into the final evolution. Its Mega is amazing. It looks cool. It just makes the same Pokemon look more fierce. Tyranitar's line is super solid all the way from Larvitar. I don't really have a lot of bad to say. I guess if I was really nitpicking, the shiny's not great. But other than that, I have a lot of love for Tyranitar, but even taking my love out of it, this line is fantastic. And I'm excited every time I see it in a game. We have a Larvitar Community Day coming up in Pokemon Go, and I can tell you I'll be out there all 3 hours running around for as many as I can get. I love this Pokemon, but sadly, it can't make number 1. Because in my opinion, Garchomp is the easy claim for number 1. This Pokemon is intimidating, it's fierce, it's cool, it feels legendary, it's extremely good being dragon and ground. This kind of ticks all the boxes for a pseudo legendary. Its shiny is lackluster, sadly, but this whole line just ticks all the boxes. If you want the ideal pseudo legendary, the one that ticks every box, is intimidating, feels special, is really good, carries your team. Like it's even Cynthia's lead Pokemon in Black and White, and not Black and White, Diamond and Pearl. So I mean, this Pokemon is nearly perfect design. I will say I'm a little worried that Garchomp's gonna start getting the Charizard treatment, where Garchomp's shoved in your face so much. It's shown so much and used so much that I'm concerned that people are gonna start getting tired of Garchomp, and Garchomp will kind of be like that Pokemon you're just tired of seeing. He's a good Pokemon. It's like Charizard. I posted my rankings where Charizard spoilers is number 1 in my starters, and everyone says he's overrated. He is overrated, but there's a reason he got there. He is shoved in your face so much that everyone gets tired of him. But Garchomp is the most solid line, and that Mega is just even more fierce. He turns into the Crimson Chin with blades on his arms. I mean, what else can you ask for? So this was my rankings for all the pseudo legendaries. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm really here just to talk about Pokemon and hear what everyone else thinks. I know there's a lot of Hydreigon people that will probably be upset about this, and a lot of Gumi people. But let me know what you think. Give me your top 3 in the comments, and be sure to stick around for more Pokemon videos. I have a lot more planned. I'll be ranking legendaries. I'll be ranking paradox forms. I'm starting competitive play, so I'm going to be doing my like road to rank type of thing. So please consider throwing me a subscription and stick around. I'll see you in the next video.